Hi, good afternoon. Sorry, I was just,
I'm not sure whether it's just you and I for this meeting or not. We'll wait a few minutes and see whether we're the only ones.
sure, let me just fix this. Okay, now it's better. And trying to find my phone. Right.
He'll probably let everyone in.
We're trying to get in here. Hello?
Is that Robin?
It is.
I do see you here.
Oh, you do?
Nice.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I don't see your picture yet, but I don't think we're there yet.
Okay.
It looks like you don't have your video on.
I think we're trying and it says,
Cannot start your video because the host has stopped it.
there we go.
Okay.
All right, Gabrielle, do we know whether we've got a quorum here or not, or whether or not Demetra is available?
Thank you. Demetra said that he could potentially attend. I have a feeling that he won't be, but we do have quorum for this meeting, so we can begin. And the meeting is now live streaming as well.
Okay, we're past the 7 o'clock starting date, so we're going to begin this April 26, 2022 Board of Variance meeting. We'll go through the agenda items in order. First of all, approval of the agenda. I'm going to recommend that the agenda of the Board of Variance meeting of April 26, 2022 be approved as presented. Do I have a seconder? Nafisa?
That's right.
Nafisa, will you
Sorry.
second that?
Pardon me?
Second the motion that we approve the agenda of this meeting
Yes, I approve it.
and adoption of the meetings of the Board of Variance of January 25, 2022, which were included in the agenda. I recommend that we approve those minutes. Do I have a seconder?
Yes, we do.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay.
I'm just downloading the files on this laptop. Sorry.
Okay, new business. Can we have a presentation from Kelsey regarding this presentation before we get the presentation from the applicants?
Yeah, so I can introduce the variance. I did want to note that I'll introduce the variance. The application does have, or the applicant does have a presentation as after the fact. After that's complete, we do have 6 residents who have registered to speak, and Gabrielle will introduce them after that. So, good evening, and for tonight, the Board of Variance is looking to consider the applicant's request to vary section 5.606 2A to decrease the existing combined side yard setback from 4.5 meters to 3.29 meters, as well as section 5.6.0628I to decrease the minimum side yard setback from 3 meters to 1.52 meters on the west side and 1.77 meters on the east side to enable an increase to the gross floor area from 280 square meters to 293 square meters. The property at 3407 Carter Terrace is zoned R1 and is a part of a 3-lot strata development. The purpose of the first variance is to enable a combined side yard reduction from 4.5 meters to 3.29 meters for the existing dwelling to legalize the nonconformance. A secondary request is to reduce each side yard from 3 meters to 1.52 on the west and 1.77 on the east, where an addition increases the gross floor square meter total from 280 to 293 square meters. The increased floor area proposed will support construction of a new secondary suite above the garage and additional bedroom with an ensuite above the existing living room. The proposed addition will not further the nonconformance. However, the additional floor area does trigger a variance to the required 3-meter setbacks for all the side yards. For some background, the proposal intends to add a secondary suite above the existing garage, which is a permitted use in the R1 zone. The applicant has provided a parking plan which conforms to the bylaw requirements that 3 vehicles can be accommodated on site. The property received a building permit in 2019 to enclose a carport and add a small addition to the upper front entrance. The setbacks within the plans showed conformance within the R1 zone and were approved by the city. When the final survey was submitted in 2021 to close the building permit file, it was determined the combined side yard setback did not comply with the R1 zone. The applicant then applied for a building permit in 2021 for the addition of a secondary suite and bedroom above the existing living room. To enable the new proposal, the applicant is appealing to the Board of Variance to correct the nonconformance and to enable the proposed addition. The proposed renovation will increase the building height above the garage for the suite and above the existing living room. The proposed height measured from natural grade will be 7.65 meters to the maximum allowable of 8.5 meters. The proposed new lot coverage is 26% within a permitted maximum of 35% and a floor area ratio of 0.38 within a permitted maximum of 0.4. Therefore, there are no concerns with density or use per the R1 zone. For some municipal interest here, the R1 zone includes gross floor area maximums linked to setbacks as a way to control size limits of dwellings in close proximities to neighboring properties. The intention is to create a relationship between massing and distance to property lines to respect neighboring properties. New comprehensive zones for residential uses do not follow this methodology at the moment. So finally, regarding the request for a variance for 3407 Carter Terrace, the board may, option A, approve the requested variance to reduce the side yards from 3 to 1.52 and 1.77, or approve the requested variance from the existing 4.5 to 3.29, or deny the request. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Kelsey, thank you very much. Just for my own edification, I have a couple of questions for you. First of all, R1 zone prevents or R1 zone permits 2 suites within plus the original family in a house. So more than 1 suite is sort of what I'm trying to say.
No, so an R1 zone permits 1 secondary suite. We consider it 2 kitchens within a home, 1 for the main, 1 for the suite.
So we're only going to be looking at 1 secondary suite here, not an additional suite?
That's right. In the building plans provided, they have 1 secondary suite in the plans.
Okay, and parking regulations are provided for 1 vehicle per family, or how many vehicles per family?
So it's 2 vehicles for a main dwelling and then 1 per secondary suite.
Okay, so 3 in total for this. Okay, the way I read the applications, and I'm sorry if I read it incorrectly, was that there was going to be an additional suite involved here, so that we'd end up with 2 suites, and I think many of the people in the neighborhood felt the same way.
My apologies for that report. It may be referring to the additional bedroom above the existing living room, which will just be linked to the actual to the main dwelling.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, are the applicants available? Do you have a presentation? Please
We
go
do.
ahead, Robin.
Okay, can you see us?
I just wanted to share something with you here.
Please go ahead.
Okay, do you see our slideshow?
Yes,
Okay,
I do, please.
okay. So first here. The structure is already existing and is doing no hardship to any of the neighbors, as we have a vacant common area in front of us. With the new addition, it will not change the current setbacks. Canada's current inflation rate is at 31-year high. Although this may have a positive impact on the value of our home, it has caused tremendous strain on our family budget. As a family, we thought that we were in a financial comfortable position to have our second child Nash. Unfortunately, we did not predict the sharp increase in prices for all of the necessary household items. This has seen our family saving dwindle and debt rise. At this rate, we are very concerned about our future. With Dylan recently becoming self-employed, additional financing from the bank is extremely difficult, as he has yet to show a full year's income. Supplementing our income by adding a new suite is our only hope of not becoming crippled by debt. We know we are not alone in this hardship, but if we are unable to add to our rancher to accommodate our growing family needs, the long-term consequences have become clear, and they are devastating.
The goal is to legalize the current building location. The size of the addition, the bylaw states us, with our setbacks to not build over 3,015 square feet. This number was created in 1989 and includes crawl space, storage areas, and non-living areas. We have decreased the size of the suite and master bedroom as much as possible. If we went any smaller, it would not function properly. We are asking for these bylaws to be relaxed. We will be building with fire-resistant exterior materials, achieving a far superior fire-resisting building than in current state. Contrary to the opinion of one of our neighbors, if approved, the addition will actually improve fire protection for our neighbors and us in the following ways. The wood-burning fireplace in our living room will be removed and replaced with an electric fireplace insert. We will replace the current cedar siding with hardy board, which has a flame spread of 0. Flame spread rating is calculated by the distance of flame travels across the material divided by the amount of time it takes to travel that distance. Much of our house was built with cedar, which has a flame spread rating of 69. We will replace the cedar ceiling in the in the living room with drywall, which has a flame spread of 15. We will replace the cedar soffit with aluminum soffit, which has a flame spread rating of 25. The proposed variant will have no impact on the surrounding natural environment. In fact, the variant will allow us to integrate environmental performance considerations into not only our proposed addition, but our existing structure as well. We will install an insulation board between the siding and framing, which will create a thermal break preventing air transfer with the exterior environment. We will install new energy efficient window and doors. We will install a heat pump to replace our current baseboard heaters. We will remove our wood fireplace and chimney. We will install solar panels and electric car charging station. The use and enjoyment of adjacent land will not substantially be affected. As you can see from the visual picture, our adjacent neighbor's view will not be affected as their main windows face parallel to our proposal variance. In terms of parking concerns, there are another 7 parking spots 15 meters from the visual provided on page 36 of the agenda. Those parking spots are visible here from the picture that we provided. The proposed total height for natural grade is 7.65, which is well within the maximum allowable of 8.5 meters. The proposed new lot coverage is 26%. The permitted maximum is 35%. The floor area ratio is 0.38 with a permitted maximum of 0.40. As Kelsey Fieldman stated in their report, there are no concerns with density or use of the R1 zone. The bylaw states the following. In addition to the use permit by section 2.1.10 of this bylaw, the following uses and no others shall be permitted in the rural residential 1 zone. 1 family dwelling unit, community care facility, home occupation, no more than 4 boarders or lodgers in a dwelling unit that does not contain a secondary suite, provided that no dwelling unit shall be occupied by more than 4 unrelated persons, accessory buildings and structures, accessory suite, accessory dwelling unit, and show homes. As you have heard today, our proposed variance does not defeat the intent of Colwood's land use bylaw number 0.151, 1989.
This will be our home's first secondary suite. We currently do not have a suite with a tenant. Our close friend Tara Poirier is a live-in nanny at our house. We provide low-income housing in exchange for nanny duties. Her room is included in our house, and she is part of our family. The kids refer her to as Auntie Tara, Mrs. T. She has provided her support for our addition. Thank you.
That's it.
All right, thank you, Robin and Dylan. I believe Gabrielle can take over from now for the 6 residents who wish to speak.
You don't see it?
Thank you. If you're not speaking, please turn your video off. The public will be provided a reasonable opportunity of 5 minutes to share their comments regarding the variance. This is not a questions and answer period. Each person will be asked to state their name and address. When you have finished speaking, you will be removed from our meeting and can watch the remainder of the meeting on our website at colwood.ca/meetings. I'll ask Sharon and Dale Kulik to turn on their videos if they choose and unmute themselves. Thank you.
My name is Dale Kulik. We're at 3409 Carter Terrace. And our main concern, we moved in to the property on the end of August of last year. And the previous owner was very clear and adamant to state that there has been, for a long period of time, an Airbnb and a suite rented out in the property of the said owner at 3407. Our major concern is parking. The owner had mentioned that he has provided available parking to enable the suite to go ahead. The 2 parking spots that he has created are a very minimal amount on his property. The remainder are on the common property of the strata and city property, which to our knowledge has been put in without permit and illegally. And our major concern is the fact that he has taken this on himself, done it without any permission or any inquiry with the rest of the strata, and put in the 2 parking spots, which he claims as his own now, which he parks his construction vehicles, trailers, trucks, etc. there. And it gives us a very limited amount of access to the actual driveway and a turnaround area to our property. He also mentioned that there's the parking spots up top. Those are public parking spots. They have nothing to do with the said owner's requests. And 99% of the time they are full with vehicles, so they will not be able to accommodate any extra parking anyway. The applications for variance of the 2 said areas to go up do not directly affect us, but we wonder why the setbacks are required if you're just going straight up on a construction site.
Well, mostly our concern is of the parking. And we share a single car driveway from the top of Carger all the way down to the bottom where we are, where we're all the 2 of us and the 3 shared common strata owners are all located. Dylan also mentioned about a fire problem. There's no, we don't have any issues with the way he's building his property. If he, he chooses however kind of construction he chooses. But if there is an issue with a fire, there's no way, if he's got all this extra parking going on there, it's going to be hard to get a fire truck down there, quite honestly. That's a big concern, I think, for us. And as Dale mentioned, we believe that there is already a secondary suite within the property. So to build, and this would be, to our knowledge, this is a secondary suite that he is wanting to build. And as Dale mentioned, why do we need to vary the setback variance change if all he's doing is building on top of his garage, on top of his living room? So
1 minute warning.
We're done. Time's up.
Sorry, you have 1 more minute.
Yes, I'd also like to add, since we've been living at 3409, we've had numerous discussions and problems with the owner at 3407 with not complying with the wishes of the strata and doing things on his own and asking forgiveness later. And we've tried to discuss that with him, and hopefully it will change. Since then, I've had to ask a dump truck to leave the common area property where he was given permission by 3407 to dump onto the common open property without even knowledge of the other strata owners. And this is just an ongoing issue with garbage and everything. The whole empty lot has become a garbage pit. So we're just afraid of with more construction going on at that residence, that it's just going to be an ongoing problem. Other residents in the area have complained that since he's moved there, it's just been an ongoing construction site.
Not even on
It's
his
5
own
minutes.
particular property. It's encroaching on the strata common property. Most of his, his enlargements to his property, his parking and everything is already encroaching on the common property, and from what we can see, city property as well. So to add more parking to his property now there's no place to put it that's not already on our shared common property that was never discussed, approved by any of the other property owners.
Thank you. That's 5 minutes. I'm going to invite Dan Hewitt to speak now.
If I may butt in here for just a moment, Kelsey, Gabrielle, regarding Mr. and Mrs. Kulik's concerns, I should note that what we're looking at here is an application to reduce side yard variances. Our authority has nothing to do with anything that's going on within the strata. Other than that, I'm not sure if there's a strata organization here, but that's the organization to whom any comments regarding encroachment on property or garbage dumping or any of those things. We're concerned here only with the approval or not of the variances in the side yards. Thank you. Thanks, Gabrielle. Go ahead.
Thank you for that. Yeah, Dan Hewitt, I'll invite you to speak now, and I'll start the timer for 5 minutes and give you a 1 minute warning.
Hello. Yeah, it's Dan Hewitt here, 3403 Carter Terrace. I'm probably the one that's going to be affected the most by this. He started spreading the rumor around to all the other neighbors that I was in support of what he wanted to do, not having a clue of what he wanted to do. And I wasn't able to even find out what he wanted to do till after I got the letter and went down on Friday on April the 22nd and picked up a copy of the plans. And I couldn't believe what he wanted to do. He's claiming a hardship and asking for relief of this hardship that he's going through. Your definition, the Board of Variance's definition of hardship, is an unusual irregularity in your property, not your personal circumstances, that make it uniquely difficult for you to comply fully with the zoning regulations. I don't see how he's suffering any kind of hardship. He's already over what Colwood would allow anybody else per square foot to build on his property. And there's not enough parking. And that's basically what I wanted to say. I had no idea, and this thing seems to be kind of being pushed through or rushed through. There's still some of the neighbors here that are affected who happen to be away on holiday right now, who won't be able to put their input in, but all the other neighbors, nobody else is in favor of this for all kinds of different reasons. I don't see how this thing makes any sense. If he's in a financial bind with the housing market the way it is, he could just finish painting up what he's already done now, put it on the market and sell it, and go someplace where he can build and build and build until the cows come home. That seems to be what he wants to do. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. I'll invite Deborah Exelby to speak now.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, great. Thank you. I will speak against approving the variance application. I live at 3388 Fulton Road, mainly because I believe the rules, guidelines, and bylaws are in place to ensure equal application to all. And I don't think that the applicant has proven or established a hardship. The Local Government Act, Section 542(1) requires that the Board of Variance consider a number of factors when determining whether to grant a minor variance. There are 3 issues that I'd like to comment on for the board's consideration tonight. The secondary request to reduce the side yard setbacks by almost 1/2 is substantial and does not constitute a minor variance. The non-conformance was actually identified by us in 2011 while doing a joint survey of 3 lots, one of which adjoins 3407 Carger. The non-conformance was identified before the applicants purchased the residence and the reno of the carport, which should not have been allowed based on that non-conformance. The granting of the primary variance request to legalize the non-conformance to allow structural alterations and additions must consider that approval of the variance does not impact several factors. Those being, granting the variance cannot result in an inappropriate development of the site. In this case, addition of a second suite on the property violates R1 zoning that permits only 1 suite per dwelling. I note that there already is a suite in the house that is advertised and regularly rented on Airbnb. Thus, adding a suite in this proposal results in 2 suites in the dwelling. Granting the variance cannot substantially affect the use and enjoyment of adjacent land. In this case, several adjacent properties would lose enjoyment of their view, contrary to what the applicant has submitted. Granting the variance cannot vary permitted uses and densities under the applicable bylaw. Again, a second suite violates the permitted density of an R1 property. Granting the variance cannot defeat the intent of the bylaw, which in this case is intended to prevent massing through the control of size limits of dwellings that are in close proximity to neighboring properties. In this case, the proposed variance does indeed violate the intent of the bylaw by allowing a structure that is simply too large for the setbacks. My last comment is regarding the building height. The height of the 3rd-story bedroom addition above the existing living room appears to be improperly measured on the plans. The maximum allowable height of the structure, 8.5 meters, should be measured not from the existing grade, but from the natural grade as defined in the consolidated bylaws. It appears, from my calculation, based on the data provided in the application, that the proposed structure violates the 8.5 meter height restriction by 1.51 meters. Therefore, I am not in favor of granting the setback variances, and I urge the Board of Variance to verify the height of the proposed structure before making a decision that may result in yet another variance being requested. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. I'll invite Rick Carter to speak now. Please state your address. And, yeah, your address. Thank you.
Hello, can everyone hear me then? Hello.
Yes.
Okay, hi. To the committee, I'm opposed to this variance as well. I talked to Kelsey at City Hall there last week and the week, or this week and the week before. I understand there's a variance to make it conforming what's there now. I understand that. However, I'm definitely opposed to any additions. I live at 3397 Robson Place. I am directly across the street. I look down at that property every day. I can look down there right now with the cars down there. It is a traffic jam. I look at some of the plans and some of the sketches and where the vehicles are parked. They don't park vehicles sideways. There's a sketch there I'd like you to look at. They don't park cars sideways there. They're all angle parked there now. What I don't see, I can look over there right now as I speak, and there's a utility trailer that doesn't show up on this. There are many construction trucks coming and going out of that property. The previous renovation, they just finished after 3 years. We had to look through that. No neighbor should have to go through this. The heights on this, I know there's a suite in there. I know Robin, the owner, talked about this earlier, the applicants. There is somebody living in that garage right now. I look at the drawings that are submitted, that there's a car in that garage. There's no car in that garage. Where is that tenant going to park? They don't park in that garage. Trust me. It's smoke and mirrors. And I wish this committee would look at this, perhaps drive by and come and examine the property. I think Deborah made a good comment, the previous speaker, about grade. I'm looking here right now, it's the applicant checklist. And I don't know if anyone's actually gone through that, but there's box 1, and then it talks about it. And then box 2, is this the purpose of the variance to address undue hardship? You know, it goes on, there's a little response in there. This is buyer beware. You knew what it was when you bought it. You can't purchase a house without a survey. So I feel there is no hardship on them at all. As we go down to box 5 in there, it says, we have spoken to and received support from our neighbors, as all our neighbors clearly have 3-story dwellings. I can't read the writing. Something, the height increase may not affect any views and will not affect neighbors from enjoying their properties. That's simply not true. That is simply not true. The house directly beside it will be affected. There's a house on the corner of Carger, and there's on Carger and Fulton. Their views will be ruined by the addition above the garage. I look at some of the support letters that the applicant put in, and one of the recommending letters in support is on Bexhill. Bexhill is up the mountain. I doubted if that property can even see where the applicant is. There's another one on Robson. I know where the person lives. He cannot see the house from his property. There's another support letter from Haida Drive, which is well below the property.
1 minute warning.
These are all people that the applicant knows and just has done a token little sign. Oh, this is a goody-goody design on a house. It's horrendous to have a little pop-up. To put in there, there's an existing suite in there right now. I've argued this with Kelsey from Colwood. There's somebody living in that garage currently. My suggestion there is do not allow this to proceed. Let them build within the walls of what they got. Take that car out of the garage, park it up on Fulton Road, park it up on Carger, on public road, and maybe make that where that car is supposedly parked, maybe make that into a second bedroom. I hope that the committee here looks at this very seriously, perhaps does a walkthrough of the property and have a really good look at this. This is an eyesore. It always has been, and it's even going to be worse when this building is built. And then we're going to have to look at this for the next 50 years. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. I'll invite Larry Jacoby to speak now.
You can speak.
Hello, my name is Larry Jacoby. I live at 3401 Carger Terrace, and I've lived here for the past 39 years. I want to thank all the previous people who have objected to this project, and I will not repeat most of what they have said, which I agree with, but I do want to make very clear that I am opposed to this because mainly of process. And what I mean by that is Kelsey at the beginning of this telecast said 2 words, plans provided. Well, the plans provided are not what the real situation is at 3407 today or for the last 5 or 6 years. I know that house very well. My wife and I were very good friends with the original owners of that house, and I've been in that house 40 or 50 times. I know that that house has had a suite for at least 5 years. The first tenant for 2 years was a young gentleman who worked up at the Queen Charlotte's as a chef. So he lived there for about 6 months of the year, 7 months of the year. And then the current tenant, who may be not current, but very recent, has lived there for the past 3 years. Now, I've never heard of a nanny reporting for work at about 5 o'clock in the evening, carrying a bag of groceries, going into the side entrance of that house, not the main entrance, always the side entrance, and then leaving again first thing in the morning, off to work again someplace. So the idea of it being a nanny doesn't fit any perception I have about a nanny's duties. The other thing I want to talk about, and as I referred to as the timing or the process of all of this, is that if there is a suite there, and I assure you that there is, and I agree with the previous gentleman who said there's not a car in that garage, I do not see anywhere on the plans submitted anything about a suite, anything about any renovations that have been made to that garage to accommodate a suite. I don't see a kitchen. So I would like to ask, and I have stated so in the letter I wrote to Kelsey about the investigation into this property before this variance is even considered. I think this should be reviewed by staff and then reconsidered again as it should it go to a variance committee or should it go through another route in order to be approved. I also want to talk about, just for a moment, the fact that if there is a suite there already, as I have stated that there is, you can have a 900 square foot suite. Well, I don't know how big that suite is for sure, because I'm not sure how much renovation has been done with the garage.
1 minute warning.
If there is close to 900 square feet there now, and they're putting an addition on top for a suite, that's going to give them a second suite, or at least room for a second suite. And I don't see anything in the plans about the current plans that they submitted being changed at all in that regard. The other thing I want to quickly review is I do not understand why the fire chief has not been involved. These buildings, these residences were built in the 1986, 1987 time period. That was before Colwood was incorporated. At that time, the fire chiefs were not called in to examine and give their opinion on things like fire safety, that road that goes down there, that narrow one-car driveway that goes down to those 2 houses plus one suite from the 3411 Carger. It is quite steep, quite curved, and I am sure that in today's environment, the fire chief would have a lot to say about the situation down there. And I'm concerned that the planning committee or the planning department of Colwood has not called in the fire chief and asked him this opinion about, is this safe from a fire safety perspective? There is no hammerhead down there for a truck to turn around. There's at least 9 vehicles, quite often 11 vehicles parked down there at all different names. So those are the main points I want to make. Thank you for listening to me, and I object to this proposal. Thank you.
We had one more person registered to speak tonight. I don't see them on here. Simon Shepherd. So it doesn't look like they've joined. I'll let you know if they appear in the next minute or so, but if you'd like to go ahead, Chair, with the meeting.
Thank you very much. Just a couple of questions. First of all, back to staff. Kelsey, can you tell me regarding the height measurements that was brought up by one of the speakers? How does that apply? She had some concerns as to whether it was from existing grade or from the natural grade of the property. Can you help explain that to us?
No problem. So yes, in the in one of the appendixes, they do have a recent height survey, which showed it, I believe it was 6.4 or 6.7 meters. And so then with the new plans, it takes that measurement to the midpoint of the highest part, which is going to be above the existing living room. So it's going to be the additional bedroom and the ensuite. And so from the midpoint of that addition to the average existing grade that was done from the survey, it has come out that it's going to add an additional, I believe it's 1.2-ish meters or so. I have been in discussions with the homeowner or the applicant about height in a few conversations, and we have come up that this is the most accurate. You can see on the plans that on the front page, it talks quite extensively about height. That would be the sort of appendix 3. It talks about the height difference.
And is it the city's practice to measure height from existing grade as opposed to the natural grade of the property, which was mentioned?
So yes, that with a new build, it's existing natural grade. With a house currently built, the average existing grade would be considered the same at this point.
Okay.
But yes, it's from natural existing to the midpoint of the roof.
Okay, thank you. Okay, questions. Nafisa, do you have any questions of the applicant here or of the town?
I do have a few questions about like from the owner for a few things that I'm not really sure about. They actually talk about sort of like fire safety, but my understanding of the neighbor's comment that it's about the area. It's not about the whole building to be fire like resistant to fire and those kind of environmental issue. I think they need to make it clear about that. Especially the building is built like in 1986 and 1987 that one of the gentlemen here mentioned about it. That's going to be a whole different story, especially because of last year environmental heat wave that we had. We probably should consider that in like more seriously in different way. The other thing, I actually pay attention in the plans. I see the plan provided just for the building, and you cannot actually see the connection between the height and the building with the adjacent area. It's better to make it clear if they are doing the 3D or they are preparing the like the plan. They probably can make it clear in that regard. And one more thing, I'm not really sure about it. They talk about having a suite for themselves while they are adding stairs outside the building. And I'm not quite sure why it's sort of different between their purpose and what is showing on that plan.
Maybe the Bernards would like to answer those questions.
You guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. As far as the last question you asked, the downstairs is a basement with a bedroom where our friend stays. That's going to be turned into a recreational room for the kids. The upstairs, where the exterior stairs are going to go up to, that is going to be the rental suite with the kitchen and a bathroom. Your fire truck question about the access to down there, yeah, there is a lot of vehicles to maneuver, and it would require maybe a planned something from either coming down, setting up hoses, where are they plugging into. As far as that, I'm not really sure. I'm not a fireman. I can't really comment on that, how that would work.
We understand that. Sadly, the fire regulations and the way for fire trucks to get to the property are beyond the scope of this meeting.
Yeah, like I'm not a fireman. Like I can't comment on that.
It's always been like that though, right? And with our
No crosstalk, please. Who's speaking?
Oh, sorry, it's Robin.
Speaker only, please.
Yeah, hi, it's Robin here. No, I was just saying how like it's always been like that, the driveway and everything like that hasn't changed. And with like our parking plan
excuse me, as I say, that's beyond the scope of this meeting anyway. We're talking here strictly about variances regarding setbacks. But we also are concerned with the problems of the suites. And there's a pretty solid consensus in the neighborhood that there is already a suite in the property, and that we are going to be you're going to be adding an additional suite. Can you disprove that, and how would you go about doing that? How would we know you don't have two suites in the house? And apparently you're already advertising for Airbnb, so I can understand.
Yeah, which that is this is Robin. That's definitely that's false. We don't have a suite in the house, like we said. You guys are willing to come and look at it. It's my best friend, Terrace that lives in there. As the neighbor has probably seen majority of them, she comes and goes in every area of our house. So I'm not sure what more we need to say on that, because I think they're just trying to throw that out there, that there's a secondary suite, and that is definitely not the case.
Okay.
I mean, I can get something from Tara to submit to you stating that, but
it would certainly make it seem as if you have an additional person living in a suite. That I can understand how that would be.
Yeah, no, it's just as she lives in our house.
She's renting a room in our house.
Renting a room. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else, Nasifa? Anything else from you?
Not so far.
Okay. Okay, we're going to close the public portion of this meeting now, and Lisa and I are going to discuss this and make a decision. We have a situation here where there may or may not be a secondary suite in this building, and I understand the neighbor's concern about that. Also, is it really a hardship for the applicants to have to put this addition on, or is it just something they would like to do as opposed to being a hardship? And certainly the problem with the parking, which isn't entirely the applicant's fault, certainly can affect the enjoyment of the neighborhood to the neighbors. And if in fact we have a family plus a suite plus perhaps other people that are living with the family, that could certainly cause considerable problems regarding the parking. Your thoughts, please?
Hi there. Can I just comment?
Hello, who is this? Who's
This is
speaking?
Carrie Clark. I'm the manager of the development services. So I just wanted to just jump in and just give you a little bit more information because there were two items that I feel maybe both Byron Grant and I can clear up for you guys. So
Why wasn't this included in the additional package, Carrie? Why wasn't this this information you're going to give us included in the original package?
Oh, I'm just trying to clarify one of the questions that came forward about a secondary suite, and I just wanted to clarify that.
Disappointing. This wasn't in the original package. If you have information that you haven't shared with us.
Sorry, may I chime in? I believe staff are just trying to, and I'll introduce myself. My name is Byron Grant. I'm the manager of building inspections and bylaw services. I believe what we're trying to do is just answer some questions.
Excuse me, Mr. Grant. Excuse everyone here, please. Can we please, we have a list of people who are going to speak at this meeting. They don't include anyone from the last two participants. We're not going to have people butting in. If there's one person who would like to clarify a couple of things that wasn't presented clearly in the application, can that person come forward and identify themselves and do it quickly, please?
Hi there, can you see me?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so my name is Carrie Clark. I'm the manager of development services at the City of Colwood. And I wish to speak to give you guys clarity on the secondary suite requirement. We do not permit 2 secondary suites in any single family home. The city requires permitting in order to approve new secondary suites. In this proposal, a building permit will be required to approve a secondary suite. Through the approval process, we also require other departments to provide commentary. So that's where I would like to introduce Byron Grant to give some feedback on the fire safety aspect of how that works at the city. Thank you.
With due respect, Carrie, the fire safety component doesn't really come within the scope of this application. We are not concerned with fire safety here. We are concerned with variances regarding setbacks. Do you have anything further?
I am just hoping to answer your questions just so that that was not an issue, but I do appreciate that it is not the scope of the consideration.
Thank you. Is there anyone else, Gabrielle, that would, from staff that's involved here, that would like to make a presentation now? Or are we finished with staff?
Hi, Chair. That's at your discretion. Thank you.
All right, thank you. It's extremely disappointing that staff is coming forward now when they could have brought this information forward with the application. It makes it awfully difficult for the committee to deal with this. All right, we'll try to do the best we can. Nafisa, it's just you and I still. I guess I'm concerned about the fact that this doesn't appear to me to be a hardship. And whether or not there's another suite in there, we don't really know how it's going to end up at the end. Although if there's a suite now, it would seem that if they build another one, there will be 2 suites. That may or may not be fair to the applicant, but that's how I see it. What do you think?
I totally agree. And other than that, as I mentioned, I cannot see it by the adjacent building, so I cannot really talk about that too. That setback is eligible or not in this area, in this unit.
I just think there are too many questions here for this committee to deal with. I don't believe this is a hardship. I do believe that go forward with this project would affect the neighborhood adversely. And for those reasons, I'm recommending that we decline this application. Do I have a seconder? Nafisa?
Yes, I agree with you, and I declined that application too.
Thank you. This application is defeated. Kelsey, Gabrielle, do you have any other comments here?
Nope, nothing from Gabrielle.
No, but if there's any other clarifications, I can answer that. I'm happy to do so. if there's any questions you had regarding the setbacks.
Okay. Thank you. Not necessary. We've defeated the application. We've declined it, whatever phraseology you wish to use. If there's no other new business, then this meeting is adjourned.